The same week that the United Kingdom was originally scheduled to leave the European Union, British lawmakers have voted to take control of that process from their Prime Minister. And the questions hanging in the air just got bigger. I'm Carl Azus. This is CNN Tech. In 2016, British voters chose to leave the European Union, an economic and political union of 28 countries. No one's ever left it before. The complicated part was determining how Britain would separate itself. How would its laws be affected? What would its trade deals look like? What about immigration and people from other countries currently living in Britain? The government of British Prime Minister Theresa May had been negotiating these terms with the European Union. Their original deadline to get this done was March 29th, and they reached a deal. But Britain's parliament needs to approve that deal before it's completed, and so far lawmakers have rejected it twice. Last week, the European Union agreed to delay the deadline for Britain to leave, and this week, British lawmakers voted 329 to 302 to take control of the parliamentary timetable from the government. It's the first time in more than 100 years that's happened, and it means that Parliament, not the government of Prime Minister May, is temporarily in control of the Brexit process. So what now? The basic options lawmakers have are the same. They can try to delay the Brexit process further. They can allow Britain to leave the European Union without a deal, which could temporarily hurt Britain's economy, or they can keep working on a deal with the European Union, though the EU may not agree to a different plan. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister can try a third time to get her deal passed. As Parliament grapples with Brexit, some British businesses are in a holding pattern.
Recent winter months would typically see a decline in business for this cold storage hub outside of London.
As you can see, we have reached maximum capacity.
But this year has proved very different.
A lot of our existing clients panicking due to the uncertainty around Brexit and therefore stockpiling and getting goods shipped into us in larger bulks and quantities.
This site stores produce for a range of clientele, from manufacturers and restaurants to caterers and small businesses. And there's space here for over 2,000 pallets of frozen goods, items such as bread, chicken breast, as well as ice cream. But fully stocked shelves present an unwelcome problem in this industry.
We've had quite a few new inquiries over the last couple of months. It's bad for business because in an ideal world, you don't want to have to be turning away any business.
Threats of leaving the EU without a deal or with a bad one have created a safety-first approach for many retailers across the UK who fear trade disruptions. Those with enough resources are stocking up while they have the chance.
We know that retailers are taking a number of steps. They've been looking to hire extra staff working in their customs units to help to get things through the borders if there should be any delays. They've also been looking at what they stock. Is there a chance perhaps to source things locally from the UK? Everybody wants to do that. Of course, it's a great marketing tool to talk about locally grown produce and British produce to British consumers. But the simple fact is, Britain only produces half of the food that it actually eats.
The government has so far reassured the public that food supply, irrespective of Brexit, will remain unchanged. A spokesperson for the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs said this to CNN. The UK has a high degree of food security built on access to a diverse range of sources, including strong domestic production and imports from third countries. This will continue to be the case as we leave the EU. They added, while we are making sensible preparations for all eventualities as we leave the EU, the government is not and will not be storing food.
We do know that 10% of consumers have said that they are already stockpiling goods, but another 25% of consumers have said they would consider stockpiling.
And as Brexit uncertainty continues to fester, businesses and consumers must now choose how best to fill their freezers. Isa Suarez, CNN, London.
Next up, after 50 years of sending rockets and satellites and humans into space, we've left a lot of junk up there, and it's becoming a bigger problem with every launch. 10 years ago, 2 satellites collided, adding to the millions of pieces of debris that's orbiting the Earth. If more collisions happen, millions of people could lose their internet or phone service. Satellite TV could be taken out. GPS service could be lost. With thousands of new satellites being planned for the years ahead, Some companies, like OneWeb, are taking steps toward retrieving defunct satellites or leaving enough fuel in them to ensure they head back into Earth's atmosphere to burn up once their missions are completed. The company says this is expensive, and though NASA recommends that every space company comes up with a way to remove its products once they're done working, it doesn't punish those who don't. So what the risk is coming down to is whether enough is done to keep space clean as people and businesses continue to explore it. 10-second trivia. Which of these events took place in 1992? Lillehammer Winter Olympics, Barcelona Summer Olympics, election of George H.W. Bush, or the launch of the Hubble telescope? In the summer of 1992, the Olympic Games were held in Barcelona, Spain. And it makes sense that the daughter of a woman who competed in those Olympics would also be a competitive athlete. But what makes Carmen Alder a positive athlete in our ongoing series is how she's set an example for others on the track, in America and in her mother's home country. You can nominate a positive athlete you know at cnn.com/positiveathlete.
I had tried a bunch of sports before running. None of the sports really stuck with running. Once I tried it, I was like, oh yeah, I'm good at this.
In her 4 semesters in high school so far, she has won 5 state titles. She is a coach's dream. She cares just as much about her teammates. It's really not about her.
I remember growing up watching my mom, she'd go out and train and run, and I kind of wanted to be like my mom.
When I was 14, I ran for Ecuador, and then I made it to the Olympics, to Barcelona in '92. And eventually that's what it brought me to the United States. I became a coach because we didn't find any distance coach, and we started a youth club. And then last summer we went to Ecuador. I took my girls to train there. We did a clinic. We saw that there was a lot of kids there that were interested in running too.
My mom owns some land, and the whole summer she was like, okay guys, we're gonna go run on an altitude, and she was like hyping us up. And so we got this group of kids, and we all drove up in this bus. We started running, and we finally did 6 miles. And then after that, we were all of us were so tired, oh my gosh. That was really fun just to see how many kids there were, who were willing to come on a Saturday all the way up there and in the cold and run together. That was a really special experience.
I think it was really good and really uplifting for her to see other kids that trying to do the same things that she is doing. And I think for her also saw how fortunate she is. They have the opportunities that she has here that most of those kids there, they don't have it.
One of the main goals is to help them get scholarships, because through that, you opens them to so many more opportunities, so many jobs that they want to do. And I think that education is really important, and most kids there probably don't have the money needed to get some of the degrees they want. And if running can open up that door for them, then I think I'm all for it.
For 10 out of 10, it's Alien, the play. Drama students at a New Jersey high school recently took a horror classic from 1979, adapted a script, and put it on stage. It was a budget production. One senior said the crew used whatever cardboard and scrap metal was lying around to build the set. But it was pretty convincing. The production went viral after viewers posted clips on social media, and the local mayor's office has funded an encore. Now you might be asking, what happened to our town? What kind of Midsummer Night's Dream led those students to Shrek tradition, not go into the woods, leave Alice in Wonderland, and take on a crucible that makes Beauty and the Beast look like the Little Mermaid? Maybe this December they'll sing a Christmas carol, but for now their little shop of horrors has them Mary poppin' on social media. I'm Carl Zeus, taking a bow on CNN 10.